and welcome to or welcome back to a new video, and welcome to day 9 of Bookmas. I am excited for today's video because we're going to talk about all of the 2025 book releases, my most anticipated reads for next year that I cannot wait to read. We have some sequels and we have some favourite authors bringing out new releases next year. So I'm very excited to talk through all of those books with you guys. Please do let me know in the comments down below which books you're looking forward to next year. I would absolutely love to hear those. I, of course, am probably missing some from this list, so I would really appreciate if you guys could let me know in the comments which books you're looking forward to, which books you have on pre-order. And don't forget to stay until the end of the video because there is a giveaway today. So yes, without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I have tried to do a little bit of research and prep for this, and I've gone through some of my pre-orders, but I know there'll be some that I'm missing and I'll kick myself for missing them later. We're gonna go with the list I have made so far and we're gonna go by month. So of course we're gonna start with January. So the first release we have in January is A Language of Dragons by SF Williamson. This comes out on the 2nd of January and it is a fantasy. And I'm very excited about it because I love any books with dragons. I feel like a lot of us here in the fantasy book community have that same opinion. Like, if there's dragons, it's usually going to be good or at least entertaining and fun. Dragons are just so fun to read about. Honestly, I love seeing how authors depict them because I've read a few books and I just feel like the dragons are all so different in each one, and I really like that. So on Amazon it says, an incredible fantasy dark academia perfect for fans of Babel, Fourth Wing and the Scholarman's trilogy. So I have never read a dark academia dragon book before, so I'm very intrigued by that premise alone. But it says here, every fire starts with a single spark. Welcome to Bletchley Park with dragons. So we're essentially following Vivian in London in 1923. In this world, dragons are well known. You'll see them flying in the skies, and it's quite a turbulent time because there's a lot of protests happening. Our main character Vivian's like, oh well, I'm just gonna keep plugging on, get an internship, everything's gonna be cool, it's all good. Wrong, because somehow when she's studying dragon languages, she somehow ends up starting a civil war. So, I mean, you know, stuff like that happens sometimes, I guess. And it says here, with her parents arrested and her sister missing, all the safety Viv has worked for is collapsing around her. So when a lifeline is offered in the form of a mysterious job, she grabs it. Arriving at Bletchley Park, Viv discovers that she has been recruited as a codebreaker helping the war effort. If she succeeds, she and her family can go home again. If she doesn't, they all die. So the stakes are definitely high in this one. So it says here, at first she believes that her challenge of discovering the secrets of a hidden dragon language is like easy, she will get the job done. But then the more she learns, the more she realizes that nothing is really as it seems, and this little bubble of safety that she's grown up in is literally about to burst. And it says here, eventually she must decide, what war is she really fighting? It's an epic sweeping fantasy with an incredible dark academia setting, a clandestine slow burn enemies to lovers romance, and an unputdownable story filled with twists and turns, betrayals and secret identities. So I'm very excited about that because slow burn romance, check. Dragons, check. Dark academia setting, check. And then just to top it off, twists and turns, betrayals and secret identities. Honestly, I have a very good feeling about this book and I feel like we're going to get a really good unique spin on dragons. Now, I've pre-ordered the Waterstones exclusive edition, which I'm very excited to receive. Now, I don't know if it's still available or not. I'm going to link as many of these books as I can in the description box so you guys can go and check them out and pre-order them for yourself. But that is our first book for 2025 and I feel like that is a really good book to start with because it sounds truly incredible. So next we have a book by Sue Lin Tan and this is called Immortal. This one comes out on the 16th of January and I don't really know too much about this one. I just really am looking forward to it. I have heard so many good things from so many people I know about Sue Lin Tan's writing. Now, I haven't actually read anything by this author. I do own all of her books and I definitely do plan to read them. I recently purchased a ticket for a book event of hers in January, so I'm hoping to get to at least 1 or 2 of them before I go to that event. I've heard so many good things about the world, about the whimsy and the magic and the romance and everything about her storytelling. And I've also heard that a lot of books kind of read like a drama, and I watch a lot of Chinese dramas, so I definitely here for that vibe. But this one here says, to win the God of War's favour was wise, to fall in love with him would ruin me. Ooh, a deadly betrayal, a dangerous alliance. I think our main character has to form an alliance with the God of War in order to like protect her people essentially. I'm not sure if it's set in the same world as her other books or not, but I'm very excited. The cover is beautiful. I do have the Waterstones edition for this one pre-ordered as well, and I don't know, I'm just really excited to read this author's books. I've had them on countless TBRs and I just for some reason always put them off, and I think it's because for me my expectations are very high and I'm so scared that they won't be met, and I don't know why I keep putting them off, but I'm hoping eventually next year I am finally going to be reading them, and of course this one. And like I said, I don't know if this is like a standalone in the same world, if it's separate to this world or what. I really don't know. I need to look into that a bit more, but I'm very, very excited for this one nevertheless, because obviously we're going to get a romance with the God of War, and that just sounds amazing. So very, very excited about this one. Okay, so this next one I feel like everyone and their nan is excited for, and that is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This comes out on the 21st of January. Now I do feel slightly like a bit of a fraud for putting this on here because I have still not read the second book. Is it Iron Flame? I did start it when it came out, like literally the day it came out, and I read like 100-ish pages of it, a bit more, and I was just like low-key bored, I'm not gonna lie. Like it was just reading like glossary, it was kind of reading like all of the world building and plot points that were missing from the first book were just dumped into the beginning of that book, and I was kind of like, whoa, let's put on the brakes here. No. So I do definitely want to read it again because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard about some specific scenes, one involving a chair, I believe, and just that like it is still a really enjoyable book. So I do of course want to get to it because I really enjoyed Fourth Wing for what it was. It was a really fun kind of new adult fantasy that really had undertones of that OG YA fantasy vibe, what we all grew up reading, and there was just something so inherently nostalgic about it, whilst it was still something kind of original. And I just really enjoyed the world. I really loved the dragons and the banter that some of the dragons have. I really loved the main character and her character growth, and of course the romance. So I was very excited for the second book, and I think it was just wrong time, not right book, and since I've been a little put off by it. However, I am debating a reread of the first book and then finally now reading the second one. Will that happen before this book comes out? I do not know, but I'm still excited for this book nevertheless, because I know eventually when I do pick Iron Flame back up, I am going to enjoy it and really like it. Probably not as much as the first book, but I feel like I will still love it nonetheless. So I do need to continue reading that, but of course I am still naturally excited for the third one, and I couldn't not include it in here because I know a lot of you guys will be excited for it as well. Then on the 23rd of January, we have Cruel as the Light by Sophie Clark. Now this one I cannot wait for. Okay, let's just take a moment to appreciate the Waterstones exclusive edition because this is so stunning. I cannot wait to get my hands on this book, and I have heard a lot of good things from people who have already read this as like an arc. They love it. They're obsessed with it, and I feel like I probably will be. It's a YA romantasy, and it says here, they say love conquers all, but can love win a war between demons and exorcists? I love the sound of that, and it's kind of reminding me a bit of Darker by Four, or Darker by the Four. I can't remember the exact title off the top of my head. I really enjoyed that book, and I really loved how rather than like the usual, you know, vampires, dragons and all of that, we had like demons and exorcists in that book. And I'm just really enjoying fantasy at the moment where the concept is slightly different, or maybe one that I've not read much of before. Of course there's lots of books out there with demons and exorcists, but I just haven't read very many of them. So I'm really excited about this one. And it says here, a brutal war between demons and humanity has raged across Europe for over a century. At its heart are two elite soldiers, Celine Oliva, a powerful exorcist trained at the prestigious Vatican Academy, and foot soldier Jules Lecroix, unrivaled in battle. When their paths cross despite initial distrust, then unwelcome attraction, Jules and Celine discover a terrible secret at the heart of the Holy Vatican City. Soon Jules is forced to question everything he's ever known, including himself, and Celine, unable to ignore her growing feelings for Jules, must make an impossible choice between love and duty. Serpent and Dove meets Empire of the Vampire with a star-crossed enemies lovers romance at its heart. Perfect for fans of Powerless, Fourth Wing and Divine Rivals. Now I feel like all of that last sentence means that this book has a lot to live up to, and I feel like it's probably going to meet it. So I am very excited to give this a read. I just love the idea, the concept. It is kind of also reminding me of Divine Rivals a little bit, and I just feel like this is going to be like a mashup of a few different kind of vibes of books, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I just have a very good feeling about it, and I'm honestly just in love with the whole cover as well. And then the last book I have down for January is Spiral by Bal Cabra, and this comes out on the 28th of January. Now this one I know absolutely nothing about, and again feel like a little bit of a flaw. There seems to be a running theme here. I started her first book, whose name I cannot remember. What is it? I know it's like a ice hockey kind of vibey one. Oh my god, what is it called? Let me have a look because I can't remember. Is it Clyde? Was that the first book? Yeah, Collide was the first one. And this is in the Off the Ice series. So I read half of that book and then I just like softy and everything. Not because it was bad, it was just like I'd been reading it, got 50% of the way through, and I was kind of like, I feel like by this point we should just be wrapping things up. Like, how are we still got 50% left? And it's not that it was a bad book, I was really enjoying it, but I was just kind of like, right, I'm feeling slumpy, I need to put this down for a bit, and then I just didn't come back to it. But I did really enjoy what I'd read so far. It's definitely like a 4-star vibe, but I still haven't finished it, and I know that when I do read the other 50%, I will enjoy it, but I'm still going to be a bit like, this could have been shorter. But I'm still excited for this one nevertheless, because I just love these kind of books. They're just easy, fun, fluffy romance books that just always do it for me. They're a perfect palate cleanser and always a fun time. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to this one because I did really enjoy what I'd read so far of Collide. Okay, so now we are moving on to February, and the first one we have is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This one comes out on the 4th of February, and this one is a college romance. I think we're following 2 athletes, so we have like a diver and a swimmer, and I think they're both training for the Olympics, and then the 2 of them somehow come to like an arrangement to try and like help each other out, and I think they were just like having a fling, but then obviously it becomes more. So I'm really intrigued by this one. I feel like it's going to be so fun. I went to an Ali Hazelwood event earlier this year and she was talking a bit about the book then, and it just sounded so fun, and I just really love Ali Hazelwood's books. They're always just a really fun time, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Next is another romance one that comes out on the 13th of February, and it's by an author whose books I own but haven't read yet, and this is First Time Caller by BK Borison. All I know is that this is a cutesy romance and it's inspired by Sleepless in Seattle, which I've never watched but I want to. And yeah, I don't know anything else about this, but I've seen a few people mention it and everyone else's excitement got me FOMO, and then I was kind of like, I want to look into this. And I saw like reviews where it was saying that it was like a really cozy, cutesy kind of romance. It says that it's basically about a hopeless romantic and a demoralized radio host and their like kind of romance. So I just really like the sound of that. I feel like that's going to be a really fun time, and the cover as well is so cute. So next we have a very anticipated sequel. This is the final book in a duology, and that is Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. So this is the sequel to The Crimson Moth or Heartless Hunter if you're in the US, and I'm very excited for this one because oh my god, the way the first book ends, such a big cliffhanger. That book had me crying, guys. I was crying towards the end of that book, and it was just so good. It was a really fun YA enemies to lovers with a game of cat and mouse. I loved the magic system. It was so unique, and just everything about the book was such a fun time. And like I said, just because of how the first one ended, I've been on the edge of my seat waiting for the second one because I need to know what's going to happen, and I just love a duology, so I'm so excited to read this one. Did I say when that comes out? It comes out on the 27th of Feb. I don't know if I said that. So now we're moving on to March, my birthday month. And the first book we have is Dragon Curse by Elise Cover. This one comes out on the 4th of March. Now, there isn't too much known about this book. Like, I can't really find a full synopsis anywhere. All I know is that it has dragons, dragon hunters, a slow burn romance between star-crossed lovers, and a world on the brink, and it's an epic fantasy. So I'm really intrigued by this one. Again, it has dragons. I was immediately sold based off that premise. Dragons and dragon hunters just sounds so fun. Next we have The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. This one comes out on the 13th of March, and this is the 4th book in the like, I don't know what their series is called, but it's the like pumpkin spice cafe one. I haven't read the first 2, but I am currently listening to the 3rd book on audio, The Christmas Tree Farm, and I'm definitely enjoying it. It's not like blowing me away. It's not like a 5-star read. It's like a solid 3.5 stars for me, which is like, I really enjoyed this kind of book. Like, you know, that vibe. It's just like a fun time. And I really want to read this one. I want to pick up the other 2. I'm definitely going to do them all as audiobooks, I think. And I don't really know anything about this one, to be honest. But like I said, I just kind of like the cutesy, wholesome, cozy vibes that this book has at the moment. And I've heard that the first 2 have. So I figured, why not? I'll read this one as well. Next we have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which comes out on the 18th of March. And I cannot wait for this one. Finally, my prayers have been answered. We are getting a Haymitch book because I still have not read the last book, The Ballad of Songbird Snakes, because no. Anything with President Snow, I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I'm not reading that book. Just no, I can't bring myself to read it. Could not care less if I'm being completely honest. Still haven't watched the movie either because I just don't care for it. But Haymitch, cannot wait to read this. I feel like this is going to be so good. It's going to give us so much backstory to Haymitch, obviously in the Hunger Games. I know if I read Ballads of Songbird and Snakes, I would get the backstory of President Snow, but I just don't want it. I just simply don't. I know I wouldn't enjoy that book, which is why I haven't read it. This one, however, I know I'm going to enjoy. I love Haymitch as a character. I think he's great. I'm really excited to see like his Hunger Games and just to see what happened. Like, I don't know, I'm just really looking forward to it, and I'm just so like excited to go back into the Hunger Games world with something new, because like I said, I didn't want to read the last book, and I loved the Hunger Games. It was one of my favourite series growing up. I think I read it when I was about, I want to say like 13 or so. It was a long time ago, like we're talking over 10 years. And when I read the Hunger Games for the first time, I had the box set and I read it, like I stayed up and didn't sleep for like 2 days straight reading it. Like, it was so bad. I'm sure it was during like the summer holidays or like a school half term. My mum went ballistic at me because I literally didn't go to bed. I was just like, as soon as I finished one book, I was on to the next, and that was it. You could not pry these books off me. And I remember going to my aunt's house for like a dinner and just reading the whole time I was there and ignoring everyone, and like my mum was just not happy with me because I didn't speak a word. I literally just had my head in the book the whole time. So I was like obsessed with those books. I had a freaking pillow that had Peter Mellark's face on it that I ordered from America on my dad's card and gave him a £60 customs bill for. So yeah, I was obsessed with the Hunger Games back in the day, and I'm just so excited to read something new and to be back in this world again. And Haymitch is just such like a fun character, so I'm just so excited to dive into this one. And the last book I have for March comes out on the 25th, and it is Alex Astor's romance novel Summer in the City. Now I'm looking forward to reading this one. I still haven't finished reading Lightlark, but I definitely want to read that very soon, and we'll be making a point of reading it like either at the end of this year or early 2025. But I just feel like I'm going to really enjoy this book. We're following a screenwriter named Ellie. She's living in New York. She has a chance to do like this huge job for a big blockbuster movie. But the only problem is she's struggling with writer's block, and this movie script is like due by the end of the summer and she's got nothing. And then because she's so desperate, she ends up back in a city she swore she'd never go back to. And when she's at this like really fancy like apartment she's staying in, she realizes her next door neighbor is this like billionaire tech guy. And not only that, he's also a guy she hooked up with 2 years ago. And he says here it's been a lovers to enemies situation ever since. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I feel like it's going to be so fun. It's kind of like Forced Proximity in a way as well, and I don't know, just something about this book just sounds really entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to it. So next we have April's releases, and the first one we have on the 8th of April is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the 3rd or 4th book in the Powerless series, and I have the Waterstones exclusive edition pre-ordered, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this. I love this cover. It is so pretty. And yeah, this is obviously the next book in a series, so I'm not really going to talk about it. Then next we have Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry, which comes out on the 24th of April. Now this is another one I know nothing about, but I've read Book Lovers by Emily Henry and I really did enjoy that one. Now I do still need to read her other books, but I really love that one so much that I know I'm going to love the other ones. Maybe not as much, but I know I will definitely enjoy them. And yeah, of course I'm just going to pre-order this one. I have all the others, I may as well. Okay, now we're moving on to May, and in May we have A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This comes out on the 13th. So this is the sequel to A Fate Inked in Blood, and I believe this is the finale because it's like a duology. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. Now I haven't read A Fate Inked in Blood, but I definitely do plan to, and I of course want to pick up this book because I know I'm going to love that book, because I loved The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen and I love the way she writes a romance. So I know I'm going to love that book, and I know I'm going to want to read the second book, so of course I want to pre-order it. The first book is a Viking Norse inspired story. It is kind of like a romanticy vibe. Enemies to Lovers, we have a Shield Maiden. Very excited to read that one, and then obviously dive into the sequel at some point next year. Next we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, which comes out on the 20th of May. Now this one I'm very excited for because this one promises to be a gothic mist-cloaked tale of a prophetess, I think that's how you say that, could be wrong, who is forced beyond the safety of her cloister on an impossible quest to defeat the gods with one knight whose future is beyond her sight. So I'm very intrigued by that. Love a good quest as well, so I think it's gonna be so much fun. Rachel Gillig is the author who wrote the One Dark Window duology. I really enjoyed One Dark Window. I thought it was great. I loved how unique it was. The magic was really interesting, the world was, the characters were, and it was overall just such a good story. And I feel like Rachel Gillig really just have a talent for crafting a really good unique world that really does have you hooked. So I'm very excited for this one. I don't know if this is going to be a standalone or duology, but either way I'm still very excited. Now for June I don't have anything down, but I do have a few books down for July. So the first book we have is Rose and Chains by Julie Soto, and this one comes out on the 8th of July. And again, there's a stunning Amazon version of this that I haven't pre-ordered that I cannot wait to get my little hands on because it looks so stunning. Now I'm pretty sure this is a kind of like fanfic vibe because I know Julie Soto and Ali Hazelwood are both in like the fanfic community and write a lot of fanfic. So I don't know if this originally was like some kind of fanfic, but it says here that this is a romancy. It says the war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who was supposed to save them is dead. It's filled with intrigue, magic, and an irresistible enemies to lovers. And it says here Bryony, our main character, is captured as her castle is overrun by her enemy, and dark forces have won, basically. She's stripped of her magic and her freedom, and her and the survivors are quickly sold off to the highest bidders in an auction as Evermore's princess. Evermore, because I know Julie Soto is a Swiftie, so that was definitely done on purpose. But it says here she fetches the highest price. After a fierce bidding war, she's sold to none other than Troven, whose family are known for their cruelty. Yet despite the horrors of her new world and the role she must learn to play within it, all is not lost. Help and hope may arise, and in the most unlikely of places. So this just sounds so good. Now I don't know if this is from a fanfic or not, or what fanfic it is inspired by. Maybe Star Wars, I don't know. But I am so excited for this book either way. Like, it just sounds like my cup of tea. And I love a good book where it's like villain gets the girl kind of vibes. So very, very excited for that one. Then next we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. This also comes out on the 8th of July, and I feel like this book has a similar vibe to the Julie Soto one. And again, another stunning cover. Like, look at that cover. I believe this one is inspired by fanfic as well, but again, I could be wrong. It says that this one's a slow burn enemies to lovers romantasy featuring a scholarly healer and a gentleman assassin set in an exquisite fantasy world perfect for fans of the Love Hypothesis and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Now those two books are very interesting to put together, so I'm very, very intrigued to see what this is about. All I know is this is also like kind of like a STEM romance, and it also has a list of tropes which include high interaction slow burn, enemies to lovers, hyper competent idiot, he falls first in harder, and slaughter as a love language. Those last two have me sold immediately. Cannot wait to read this one. So this next one is a thriller, and that is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This comes out on the 17th of July. And I think this is her first adult thriller, but I could be wrong. And basically we're following this girl who's 27 years old, and she gets violently attacked and she's left with a brain injury, and the doctors think she has like 7 days left until she basically like, and she is now going to try and figure out who it is that attacked her and tried to kill her, and she feels like she can't trust anyone except for her childhood friend Billy. So I am very, very excited to read this one. I like the concept of trying to like almost solve your own murder before it happens kind of thing. I really enjoyed A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I'm really intrigued by this one if it is an adult thriller, which I'm pretty sure it is. But just trying to solve your own murder, I don't know, that just sounds so fun and so thrilling. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Then also on the 17th we have Medievally Blonde by Kate Jacobs. I'm obsessed with this cover, guys. Like, look at it. It is so stunning. Now, all I know is that it's a rom-com that's inspired by Legally Blonde. And that's all I needed to know. But it does say here, a princess desperate to win back the prince who broke her heart follows him to his kingdom's prestigious military academy. And in doing so, falls in love, saves the realm, and continues to look fabulous in this romantic debut fantasy loosely inspired by Legally Blonde. Which just sounds so freaking fun. Like, I am so excited for this. Like, Elle Woods, but make it medieval. Yeah. Okay, and then the last one for August is one by LivCo, which is called Arcana Academy. Now, I don't know too much about this one either, but one of my patrons popped it into our pre-orders chat on Discord, and it just had me intrigued, and I don't know, I just kind of want to give it like a go. I think it's the first book in a new series, and it says here, a woman who wields magical tarot cards lands herself in a false engagement with the headmaster of a mysterious academy in the first installment of an enthralling romantasy series. So that just sounds so entertaining. I love the fact that her magic is linked to tarot cards. I feel like that is such a unique and fun concept, and the fact that it's like fake dating but an engagement and with the headmaster. Colour me intrigued. I am looking forward to this one. I feel like it's going to be such a fun time and maybe have like dark academia vibes. So sign me up, I'm there. Okay, so now moving on to August, we have one of my most anticipated sequels that I've been waiting for so freaking long. But I do need to do a reread for a reason. I'll explain in a moment. So the book is Wrath of the Dragons by Olivia Rose Darling. This one comes out on the 8th of August. Now, if you've been here for a while on my channel, you'll know I read the indie like e-arc of this a couple of years ago. I think it was in my top books of 2023, or was it 2022? I think it was 2023, I got sent an arc of this when it was originally indie published, and I read it in one day. I absolutely loved it, one of my favourite books ever. And then obviously since then it's been traditionally published, so there's been changes made to it and stuff, so I do need to read the traditionally published version first because this one is also traditionally published. But I am so excited. I love that book so much. It is like romancy, it has dragons, but not in the way you expect, at least in the first book. It has political intrigue, it has a family, lots of court politics, and a runaway princess. It's like enemies to lovers and like an unlikely alliance, and it is just so good. I loved it so much. It's a great fantasy read. Would highly recommend it, so I cannot wait for the sequel finally. So this next one is one I'm also very excited about because I heard about this book, I think last summer. I went to an RF Kwong event and she was talking about this book then, and that is Catabasis, or Basis I think is how you say it, and this is by RF Kwong. And this one basically is the story of a hero's descent into the underworld. We have two academic rivals from Cambridge who travel to hell to rescue the soul of their advisor. Getting there was easy, surviving it and each other is another thing entirely. So this sounds so good, like going to hell together and falling in love. Like, I'm sorry, but that just sounds so fun. I cannot wait to read it. Then next for September, we have another highly anticipated sequel for me, and that is Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. It comes out on the 18th of September. Now, Rewitched, spoiler alert, is in my top 10 of the year. I love that book so much. I would highly recommend it. If you like a book with family vibes, with a bit of romance, with witchy vibes and magic, with a really wholesome, cozy feel that just feels like a warm hug, and is set during autumn, specifically Halloween, then you will love this book. It was so good. I really saw myself in the main character. I related to the book so much, and I read it at the perfect time in my life. And it also has a cozy bookstore called Luna Books, which I love. And I just cannot wait for the sequel. Like, I just feel like it's going to be such a fun read. I think it's following other characters as well, but still with these characters in, or it's just got new characters introduced. I can't remember exactly what Lucy Jane Wood said at the event I went to, but either way, I am so excited. I would highly recommend going and reading Rewitched because it was such a good book, and I just cannot wait to dive back into this world. It's one of my favourite writing styles. It's like very descriptive, and I just love those kind of things where like everything is described in a book. Like, that's my kind of thing. Then moving on to October, we have The Ballad of Falling Dragons, and this one's by Sarah A. Parker. So this is the sequel to When the Moon Hatched, and this comes out on the 7th of October. I don't know if I just said that. I haven't read When the Moon Hatched, but it is on my 25 books for 2025 list. So I cannot wait to read that. The reason I haven't yet is just because the hype has kind of scared me off a little bit. And this does happen for me quite a lot. I get FOMO, I'll buy the book, and then it sits on my shelf and I don't read it because it's so hyped. I'm scared I'm not going to like it, which is really silly, but it's kind of like an apprehension because I want to love it and I want to enjoy it. And I'm scared that like the hype surrounding it is going to like affect my reading experience, which I guess is like the downside to like booktube and BookTok and like hyped books. But also like it's not a bad thing, because if a lot of people are talking about it and are hyped about it, it usually is because the book is good. Obviously not every book is going to be for everyone, but I feel like when the overall consensus is that it's a really good book, it usually is. So I need to stop doing that and just like read it and find out for myself. But I just like build up so much and then I get too scared to read it and I chicken out and don't read it. So yes, definitely plan to get that one next year, and of course I'm just looking forward to the sequel because I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It has dragons, it's romantasy, it's meant to be a fun time. So yeah, that one is on the list. Then for November, we have The Love Haters by Catherine Center. This comes out on the 6th of November. Now, I only just found out about this book today, so I know nothing about it, and I don't need to know anything about it. The reason this is on my list is because Catherine Center wrote one of the best romance books of all time, which is The Bodyguard. If you haven't read it, go and read it. It's very funny because it's like she's the one protecting him, he's the celebrity, she's like the security person, and it was just so fun. I loved the chemistry, the banter, everything about this book was so good. It had some like deeper layers to it, but the way those things were handled were in such a good way, and the kind of third act conflict made sense in this book, and it was done really well, and that doesn't happen often in a romance book. So I really enjoyed that one. And I do have Catherine Center's other books on my shelf, I just haven't gotten to them. I haven't been reading a lot of romance this year, more so fantasy, so I definitely do want to get to those. But of course I'm excited for this one because I just love The Bodyguard so much, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then I don't have any books for December, but I do have 2 books down here which I couldn't find dates for, but maybe I just missed them. So the first one is Alchemize by Sen Lin Yu, and this is basically Manacled. Now I haven't read Manacled, I do want to, but I'm terrified to because I know it can get quite dark, and it's quite a long book. So let me know if you guys think I should read it or if you'd want a reading vlog reading that. Manacled is essentially fanfic between Draco and Hermione from Harry Potter. Everyone loves it. So many people I know have read it and are like absolutely obsessed with it. And I really do want to read it. I don't know when it's getting taken down, but basically this is like a revised version of that, but not Harry Potter, and like her own spin on it, and it's being published as a book. Now the only thing I found is like the Instagram post here, but I don't think there's a date out yet, but I could be wrong. But it was announced in February, so maybe I've just missed it. But either way, I'm definitely going to be picking that one up. And then the other book I have to mention, which again, I don't know if there is definitely a date, but it's the 4th book in the Kindred's Curse series, which is Burn of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Now, I've only read the 1st book so far. I read it last month. I'm 20% into the 2nd one. I've just put it on pause because I've been in a mini slump, or more of a life slump, but I haven't really been reading because of my old brain here. So I'm definitely going to dive back into that, and I am absolutely loving it so much. Like, I love this world and I love the characters, and I'm planning obviously to finish the 2nd one, read the 3rd one, and then I'm going to want to read this one next year. So I thought I'd mention it. It is a romantic series. It is so good. I feel like if you like Throne of Glass, you will really like this series as well. It is just like a really interesting world with a really kind of interesting revolution kind of vibe going on in it, and there's lots of secrecy and mystery in this book, as well as like the romance and the banter and the magic, and I'm just really enjoying the world. So I cannot wait to dive into the 4th one when I eventually do get to it and when it comes out next year. But those are all the books I am looking forward to reading next year. I feel like I have so many to look forward to. I know there'll be books I've missed off this list, and there'll be other books that'll be announced soon that are coming out next year, but those are just some of the ones at the moment that I have on pre-order and I feel like I am just gonna love. So make sure to let me know in the comments which books you're looking forward to next year. What are your most anticipated reads of 2025? Please do let me know down below so I can maybe pre-order a few more, because I love pre-ordering books. It doesn't count because the money doesn't come out my account usually until then, so I don't have to worry about it, but I get that same serotonin by ordering them. It is a fun time, which is very bad. That is very not a good healthy habit, but I like buying books, what can I say? So let me know down below. Now onto the giveaway. This one is a bit of a like random one, but I have some arcs on my shelves that I want to pass on, and obviously these books have now released since then, but I figured they'd be fun to put in a giveaway because maybe some of you guys love these books and would love to have an arc for your collection, or maybe just some of you have been interested in reading these books and you might win this giveaway and be able to by getting said arc. So I'm going to give away 2 arcs, and that is Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin, and then we also have To Cage Your God by Elizabeth May. These are both fantasy. This one has romance and it's witchy. So yeah, if you would like to be in with a chance of winning these arcs, they will also come with some bookish goodies. Then all you need to do is leave a red love heart emoji in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and you have liked this video. Also make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram if you do have an account. I will be checking, and also do all this by the 24th of this month. I want to give you guys plenty of time to enter these giveaways, to watch these videos, and I will be contacting winners after Christmas to send these out if you win. So if you would like to be with a chance of winning these arcs and some bookish goodies, then make sure to enter down below in the comment section. But that is everything for this video. Like I said, I'm going to link all of these books in the description box down below, so feel free to go and check them out. I will also have a link to my Patreon, and that's where you're going to find extra and exclusive content from me. You'll find early access to the rest of my Bookmas content, along with early access to my end of year and beginning of 2025 content, as well as my posting schedule for the end of the year and beginning of 2025. So I have some exciting videos I'm going to be working on, one of which is my bookshelf tour, and my patrons will be getting early access to that towards the end of the year. So if you wanted to see that soon, then you can head to my Patreon. You're also going to find a bi-monthly book club where we do a reading sprint. We have a Discord and I do a reading vlog for. You'll also find a monthly readathon, reading sprints, exclusive photos and posts, extra videos such as clothing hauls and day in the life vlogs. You'll also find a Discord server, an exclusive discount code for my Etsy store, as well as an exclusive Vanilla Moon Book Club bookmark if you join the Supermoon and above tiers, and lots of other things. So if you were ever interested in any of that, you can head to the link in my description box to find my Patreon. But that is everything from me. I hope you guys are enjoying Bookmas. I hope you're all safe and well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!